Morning, everybody. Thought I would share my dream that I told everyone about. It was literally wild. In like every respect, wild. Just a keynote. People wondering, how do you remember your dreams? Every night, tell yourself right before you go to bed, you know that state where you're like, just tell yourself, when I'm done with my dream, I'm going to wake up and write it. And you're going to remember it. And if you do it every night, you'll begin to remember all your dreams. So, sadly though, I only remember the beginning and the middle-ish end to the end. There's like chunks missing. Okay. So, yeah, I wrote it down. There's a group of 8 students in a class, all very different, sort of Breakfast Club-esque. And they start arguing about life, and it kind of sounded like a philosophy class, but it wasn't like philosophy class written on the board. And the teacher, who for some reason kind of, I don't want to say it was the rat guy from Arthur, but like, it was the rat guy from Arthur. And he says, what is life and why is it important? And they're all starting to argue, and all of a sudden there's this huge boom, like from outside. Now, just a side note, I live like 25 minutes away from a naval, I don't know if it's a naval, an army base called Fort Dix, and they have been recently doing a lot of training, and there's a lot of booms going on, and so that's where that kind of entered. So there's a huge boom, and it like shook the whole room, and all of a sudden it went to everyone's eyes, and they were like, and so then they blinked, and then when I saw one kid blink, it like opened up in a new world. Okay, so he like blinked and like looked up and realized he was in like a castle, and now the castle's ceilings were so tall, like hundreds of feet tall, and the walls were like tan, like sandish color. And so he's running down, he like is so confused, he's like, where am I? And he's running down the hallway, he's making left and making rights, and they all the walls look the same. And he's like, what? And like, he noticed something run across his path, and he was like, then he realized like something's running behind him, and there's something everywhere running around. And so he's just running and running, and he's missing everything that is going on in the castle. There's beautiful paintings, and it's like so beautiful. And eventually he this part's weird. He like ran up against the wall, and like Gene Wilder was there, like Willy Wonka from Willy Wonka. And yeah, well, here's the thing. I watched the Maroon 5 version of Pure Imagination, so I think that's where I'm connecting Willy Wonka in my dream. And he handed him a fortune from a fortune cookie, which, where did that go? Because right here. Last night I got a fortune cookie, and my fortune was in my dream. When the fortune reads, you will have a fine capacity for the enjoyment of life. So then he handed him, the kid that was running around the castle, that. Didn't say it, but the kid read it, and I kind of like heard it. And all of a sudden Gene Wilder says, stop running around to get where you want tomorrow. Today's today, and you're in a castle. Enjoy it. And I totally agree. If you're in a castle, enjoy it. Don't run around. But, so then there was another boom, and all of a sudden another pair of eyes opens. And it's another boy, blonde hair. He's like in a cavern, like it looked like rocks, like in a cave, but it was like more nicer than like a cave. And he was walking down steps that had like mosaic tiles as the steps of blues and oranges and yellows. And eventually, looking down at it, you could see like water. And he just walked right into it. And when he got into it and he was all the way down in it, he was walking on, it's like he didn't have to breathe underwater. It was just very, very cool. And it looked like kind of like a house underwater, but like a European, Parisian-styled home that was like all white, but it had a blue tint to it because it was underwater. So the blonde boy is like kind of like walking, but like in a flowy, swimmy way, but not like, what's going on, guys? Like swimming. And so he's swimming around, looking around, and all of a sudden he sees the back head of a man sitting on a chair, sort of like that. And the chair turns around, and it's the guy from Titanic, Mr. Andrews. He's the one that built the ship. He's like, Rose. Yeah, that guy. And he turns around in a chair, and let me tell you the weirdest thing. His eyes are like spinning vortexes, but like his eye, like his pupil, like his eyes weren't like, so he had normal eyes, but just like, and they were all different colors and stuff. And he starts to talk, Mr. Andrews, and it like wasn't in English. It kind of sounded like French, but like with a Spanish twang to it. I don't know. Like I heard some Spanish in there. I don't know what it was. But so I like translated it, but like not in the sense of like I knew what he was saying and I knew what it meant. Just sort of like I understood. And he said, do what you must now before you die. Not because you're dying, but because it's now. Pow. Mind blown. Then there's another boom. And everyone is back in the class. And they're all sitting in a circle now. Now, I'm assuming that all 8 of these kids had an experience like this, and I only remembered probably the first one and the last one. Because in psychology, they say you usually only remember the beginning and the end. And, so they all kind of like snap back into their lives, and they all look shocked, but like different in the sense that they get what their message was. And they all talked about their experience, and then one kid said he wanted to go back. And then this one girl, who kind of looks like my friend Lisa Tarr, she like got a brochure out, and it was like a brochure for like a world traveling trip, like to go travel the world and stuff like that. And they debated and thought about it, and this is where it gets weird. One of the kids brings out a protein bar, and he cuts it in 8 pieces for each person, and he says, we're all going to close our eyes, and if we want to go on the trip, we'll eat the piece. So if I wanted to go on the trip, I'll eat the piece. But if you don't want to, throw it in the center. So if you want to go, you eat it, and if you don't, you throw it in the center. And they're all closing their eyes, so it's all anonymous. And he says, if everyone eats it, I'll go. If not, I won't. I hope we all eat it. When they opened their eyes, everyone ate it. Nothing was in the center. And they all kind of smiled and looked at each other like, we're ready to go. And then it was, boom! That same boom that shook everything, and I woke up. And I was like, what the hell? It was bizarre. So cool, though. I loved it.